Hello, and welcome to Paladins of Voltron, an unofficial podcast about the Netflix original series Voltron Legendary Defender. I'm Jeremy, and with me is my friend Jason. How you doing, Jason?
I'm doing great, and thank you for calling me your friend.
I called you my friend last time, too.
Thank you for being a friend. I won't sing.
I'm not going to sing.
No, neither of us should. Yeah, I'm doing fine. Ready to talk about some more Voltron.
Yeah, it's the penultimate episode of season 2.
Yes, indeed.
So, as we say every time, if you'd like to leave us some feedback, leave a comment on the post for this episode, or you can email us at feedback@povpodcast.com. Twitter is POV_podcast. We'd love to talk to you there. Also on Instagram, same username. I always forget. And Facebook is POV podcast _. And as I said, this episode is the penultimate episode. It's season 2, episode 12, titled Best Laid Plans. And this is directed by Chris Palmer and written by Joshua Hamilton. So this episode begins with the Lions launching the teledove that the Olkari built into space. Allura hopes that their plan will revive the coalition of worlds that her father had built years before. On Zarkon's ship, Thace is being tortured by Haggard's druids. Haggard is convinced that an attack is coming soon, but Zarkon insists that he stay by her side and help him locate the Black Lion, and leaves the interrogation to her druids. Back with the Lions, Shiro explains their plan. The Black Lion is going to go out solo and lure Zarkon to a specific spot in space. The castle and teledove will be hidden by a cloak generated by a device developed by Slav. While this is happening, on the Galra ship, Thace is going to be disabling the power so Culliver and Antok can upload a virus that will keep the power disabled. Then the teledove will send the Galra millions of light years away. Unfortunately, Thace has been captured, but the team doesn't know it yet. They just know they haven't heard from him. So Keith volunteers to go into the Galra ship and disable the power. He heads there in a cloaked shuttle, but Allura stops him before he leaves and apologizes for being a jerk since she's learned he was part Galra. She's let her hatred of the entire race get the better of her, and they leave with a hug, and she makes him promise to come back. Keith, when he gets to the Galra flagship, Shiro heads outside and begins fighting the ships. While the Galra are distracted by Shiro, the castle and the teledove move into place, waiting for Keith. Keith makes it into the room controlling the ship's power, but he discovers that the code that they had been given had been changed. He then hears the door opening behind him and he hides. Thace comes in and tries to disable the power as well and discovers the same thing. Then some druids enter and they reveal that they'd already changed the code. They also mentioned his name, though, so knowing who he was, Keith jumps in to help in the fight. Keith's blade disintegrates one of the druids, and the other is dispatched after a short fight. While this is happening, the other Lions have joined Shiro in the fight. However, the longer this takes to disable the power, the more worried Slav gets about keeping the cloak powered. The cloak does end up failing, and Zarkon orders his forces to fire on the teledove, but Thace starts pulling wires out of the control panel and adjusts things to turn the whole power room into a bomb. He has to stay there and sacrifices himself while Keith runs out and makes it out just as the room explodes and ends up in space. The Red Lion thankfully realizes that Keith is in trouble and quickly heads out to pick him up, and Keith rejoins the fight. With Zarkon's ship incapacitated, the virus is uploaded. Slav is able to then send Zarkon's ship through the wormhole, and the castle ship and Lions quickly follow to complete their plan and destroy the Galra forces for good. After the jump, Shiro orders the team to form Voltron as the episode ends. So things are happening.
Yeah, they are.
I think, again, this is a good show of the teamwork that they've developed. and we finally see Allura realizing her space racism and getting over it.
Yep.
And, I like to see that resolution, that she actually realizes, they ended that thread. She knows that not all Gara are evil, between the Blade of Mamora and Keith. And she actually said that she thinks of all the Paladins, including him, as family. And I like the interactions Shiro had, like basically taunting Zarkon, like going out there where he knows Zarkon will detect him, and Zarkon plays into their hands and shows up right there. Hagar tries to say, hey, this is a trap, and it just doesn't work.
Nope.
Zarkon is too single focused on getting the Black Lion.
He's obsessed. There's no two ways about that.
So, I mean, what were your thoughts on this?
Oh man, great episode. And yeah, Allura comes around, like you said, ends her space racism, at least as far as Keith is concerned.
Yeah.
And at this point, the Blade of Marmora has been on a ship. They could have been any time. Although they kind of disappear. Like, you don't see them at all last episode, even though they should still be on the ship. Maybe they were sleeping. Who knows? But
they were meditating.
Right. They had all this time. They were polishing their swords. They had all this time to, betray her. Keith leaves the last episode. He leaves the Yellow Lion in the middle of a space battle to go get his lion. He's sacrificing himself to do what he needs to do. So at this point, she knows it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not going to overcome your space racism through that, you're never going to do it.
Yeah, and I think Keith knew, regardless of what happened, the Red Lion was going to come and get him.
That's true. That has been demonstrated. So I definitely would agree with that. For me, the moment with Thace, his sacrifice, was, for a cartoon, that was pretty powerful. He's been, even though we see, I don't think we've seen more than 2 or 3 minutes of him per episode.
Yeah.
His character's developed to the point where when it was just him and Keith, I was like, he's going to sacrifice himself. I don't want him to, but he's going to sacrifice himself. And he did. And Keith was able to get away and continue on. And at first I thought that Keith gave him his Bayard, and I was like, wait, why would you do that? But then it turned out it was just a laser weapon from one of the guards. And yeah, then that smile on Thace's face right before he dies, where he's like, I did it. I was like, oh my God, dude, this is freaking, this is a show for kids.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of gave me hints of like Beast Wars Code of Hero episode, where you see Dinobot's sacrifice. It's the hero that knows that he's done bad things, but he's redeemed himself, especially through this final act.
Sure. Where he's accomplished his goal, basically, and he knows that, he's done. He says, "This is where my journey ends," and it's like, actually, I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that line in a TV show or movie where I'm like, oh no, your journey should continue. That's not fair.
Just hope we get like a prequel comic or something.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, where's our Legendary Defender comic?
We've already had one.
Legendary Defender?
Yeah. They did a 5 or 6 issue miniseries that takes place between 2 episodes of season 1.
Oh my God. Okay. Need to find that.
You missed them.
I did.
Lion Forge Comics put it out. It's on Comixology.
Oh, Lion Forge, huh? I bet there's no reason why they got the deal or anything, right?
Yeah, it's a little convenient. But yeah.
Give it a couple of years. Marv will own them.
It was written by some of the show creators, so a lot of the same humor.
I'm in. Yeah. As soon as we're done recording tonight on our marathon recording session.
Yeah.
And Shiro baiting Zarkon, and he's so obsessed with getting the Black Lion back. Like, Hagar's basically like, you are going to kill us all, and he's just. But
I do like that the villains aren't treated as being stupid.
No,
I mean, Hagar is seeing that this is a trap, and she's like, "This is a trap."
You're right.
Yeah, I mean, Zarkon isn't stupid; he's just obsessed, and I like seeing intelligent villains.
Right. And it's not, he used to have total control over this creature. He
Right.
can feel the control, but he wants that total control back. And meanwhile, it's Shiro who's learned that it's not about controlling the lion. It's about working with the lion, trusting the lion.
Respecting the lion.
Right. So, we get some more fun Slav this episode where he's like panicking as the gravity wells dying.
But like we said, he's toned down.
Yeah. Yeah, from that first appearance, absolutely. Keith and Thace and all that, and I'm just trying to think like this episode and the next episode I'll be talking about next. There's a lot in these episodes. This was packed. These last two are just dense episodes, and this is why we thought they might have been saving a little money. Well, it kind of paid off because we're getting the animation in this, all the
space battles, great.
I thought it was interesting. I don't know. Like as they're teledoving Zarkon's ship, not the small little fighters, they're fine. They actually make the jump because they're at next episode they're there. But the larger, like I guess they're
capital ships,
warships or whatever they are, they actually like blow up. So the teledove or Alora through the teledove, I guess, is actually blowing up most of the fleet. So that was a nice touch. Yeah, and I didn't notice that until the second time I watched it to do the recap. So there's there's a lot going on here, and it leaves off with the episode literally ends with the Voltron combination, and then he starts flying towards Zarkon's ship, and we're gonna pick it up right there at the next one.
Right. I mean, if anything, these last two episodes probably could have just been a single episode, like the first couple episodes of season 1.
Right.
I think this one probably would have been just as good if you just do a single combined episode.
Yeah, I think that would have worked just fine. But at the same time, at this point, it's what the show is. I understand the first episode being a longer introduction, and like I said that, or I guess I haven't said it on this show because we haven't really reviewed the first season. But the first episode, the character building and everything that goes on in there is just fantastic. So it serves its purpose well. And yeah, this one is literally cut to black, and you're like, if you were thinking, oh, I'll watch the last episode tomorrow, yeah, you're not going to do that. You're
right. You're staying up.
It's 2:00 in the morning. You're still going to watch that next episode. So
yeah, and I guess the last thing I want to bring up here is how this is showing the culmination of everything that they've experienced so far. You have the Olkari who built this teledove. You have the Balmera crystal.
Yep.
You have the Blade of Amora. You have Slav, who created this gravity well that is based off of the first, the way that first base of the Blade of Amora was hidden.
Yeah.
It's all these things that were introduced to it's finally all coming together in a perfect knot. And, I love seeing the payoff.
Yeah, and it's not just that we're seeing the team come together through these first two seasons, but yeah, we're visiting the Balmera again, even though that was midway towards the end of the first season. The Ankari are back after being early in the season, the fourth episode of the season.
Right.
And yeah, they're just pulling these elements back, and each one serves their purpose, and they fit in nicely, the pieces, and it's, yeah.
I mean, you think they're just one-off episodes, they're meeting these people, helping them out, and then, in theory, they would be part of whatever coalition.
Right.
But you didn't actually think you would see it at the time. And now you're seeing, all these people remember the legend of Voltron, and now they see it's back. They're putting their hope in Voltron to defeat the Galra, and they're doing what they can do to help. And I think that's great.
Right. And let's not forget 10,000 years of Galra Empire rule.
Right.
People are pretty much ready to lend a helping hand at this point. So, yeah. I mean, not much to say. Just let's get to the next one.
All right. Well, then, I'll thank everyone for watching this now, and leave us feedback, and listen to us next week as we have the last episode of the season.
Yep, we're gonna wrap up season 2, and hopefully maybe we'll have a feedback episode after that. But if not, at least we get to end the show, and
yeah,
and then we can anticipate season 3. So,
or we might go back to season 1.
oh yeah, that could also be an option too. So we'll see about that.
Yeah.
But all right, everyone.
All right.
Yep.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.